Hallo meine liebe Klasse, ich bin hier in meinem Klassenzimmer zu Hause. Es wird Low-Tech, FYI. Es gibt daneben so viele Sportsachen, aber es geht. Ich liebe euch und ich vermisse euch so sehr. Ich hoffe, dass alle gesund und zufrieden sind. Heute lernen wir über das Wort Dessert. Los geht's! So Dessert means this or these auf Deutsch, as in, this sandwich is huge. What is in this soup? Or these pancakes are yummy. So it's the same word in German, whether it's singular like soup or plural like pancakes. So, does Dessert need endings? Ja, natürlich. It will take the same endings as der and Jader. So this is going to be Reese, Nisi, and Merman. These should be very familiar to you. And so let's look at some example sentences. So if your this phrase is the subject, you can see here the Reese endings. So dieser Mann ist sehr klein. This man is very small. Mann is the subject, and it is masculine. And so just like you'd say der Mann ist sehr klein, if you want to say the man is very small, to say this man is very small will be dieser Mann ist sehr klein. So the same endings. I just want to call your attention to the plural. Diese Leute sind sehr klein. That would be translated to these people are very small. So notice it's the same word auf Deutsch. All right, if it is accusative, so the direct object or following the preposition für, let's look at some examples there. So notice in all of these, my subject is ich. And so I'm doing something to these direct objects. So our first one, ich sehe diesen Mann. I see this man. So I see what? This man. It answers the question what? It's my direct object. Accusative case is going to be diesen. So you can see those endings are just like Nisi. All right, if it is the direct object, or if it is, the indirect object, so it answers the question to or for whom, like you're giving a gift to this man or to this woman, or it follows a preposition that takes the dative case, the endings will be Merman. So let's look at a couple examples with giving gifts first. So, ich gebe diesem Mann eine Uhr. I'm giving this man a clock. So who's doing the giving? I am. What am I giving? A clock. That's the direct object. To whom am I giving it? Diesem Mann. So he's the indirect object. It will take a Merman ending, Mr. Rogers ending. So diesem Mann. Our next one, ich gebe dieser Frau ein Pausenbrot. I'm giving this woman, remember what Pausenbrot is? It is a snack sandwich. So who's doing the giving? I am. What am I giving? Snack sandwich. To whom? To this woman. And so she's receiving the gift. So she will take a dative ending, feminine. It's going to be dessert. It's also the case following prepositions though. So let's look at a couple examples there. Ich wohne in diesem Haus. I live in this house. So really common sentence. Anything following that preposition in, as long as there's no movement, will be dative. And house is a das word. So to say in this house will be in diesem Haus. And then our last one, ich bleibe in diesen Bergen. I'm staying in these mountains. Again, anything following in, Bergen is plural, so to say in these mountains will be in diesen Bergen. All right, so now we're going to look at some example sentences. So our first one, was ist das denn auf Pausenbrot? So you're asking, what is that on this snack sandwich? So remember when we do these, the first thing we have to think about is what's the gender of that word following the blank. So what's the gender of Pausenbrot? Well, if we know the gender of Brot, then it's going to be the same. It is a das word, so I'm going to write that on there. And then we're going to look at our sentence to figure out the case. Is it the subject, direct object, indirect object? And so let's see if we see anything in our sentence that calls our attention. So I see was ist. I see an ist. That should tell us subject, subject, subject. But let's keep reading. I also see an auf. That auf takes precedence. That auf is way more important than the verb. Anything following that auf, 100%, as long as there's no movement, is going to be dative. And so then, if we have auf plus dative, and this is a das word, go to the chart, this is going to be diesem, because it takes those same Merman endings. All right, next one. Das ist Quark here. So that is this Quark. Remember, Quark is that strange German dairy product, kind of like cream cheese, kind of like yogurt. And so you're saying that is this Quark. All right, so what's the gender of Quark? Do we remember? It is a der word. And then we're going to read the sentence to see, do we see anything going on here? So all I really see is das ist. Equal sign. We don't have any prepositions. We don't have anything else going on. You're not eating it. You're not liking it. And so this is going to be subject, subject, subject. And so if it's der, you want to say that is this Quark. It's going to be dieser. All right, then we see ich habe ihn gerade gekauft. Do we see a clue there? If we didn't know the gender of Quark, the clue right there is ihn. I just bought him. So that tells us it's masculine if we weren't sure. All right, then we see magst du blank essen nicht? So what would that mean? Do you not like this food? And so first, what's the gender of essen? It's a das word, das essen. And then what's the sentence mean? Do you like the food or do you not like the food? So who's doing the liking? You are. So you are the subject. You like what? Food. So it's going to be the do. It is a das word. And so if we want to say do you not like this food, it's going to be dieses. Just like that. All right, so now, let's see if I can hold this up straight for you. I want you to look at the last one and tell me what you think your answer is going to be. All right, so if you chose diesen, you are correct because Quark is masculine. And when you're saying ich finde, I find what? This Quark nasty. It is the direct object, masculine, so it's going to be diesen. Sehr gut. Now, you've got some more practice with the PowerPoint. All right, so we just have a couple more examples here, so I'm going to give you some think time, and then we'll talk about the answer and why. All right, so the correct answer here is diesen. Nach der Schule esse ich immer diesen Quark. Ist gesund und lecker lecker. So auf English, after school, I always eat this Quark. It, or he, is delicious and or is healthy and yummy yummy. And so in our first part, where we have that blank with Disa, we have a ich esse. So who's doing the eating? I am. I'm eating what? This Quark. So it is the direct object. The gender of Quark is masculine, and there's a big clue in that second sentence. Ist gesund, in case you forget the gender. So if it's masculine and the direct object, to say I'm eating this Quark, it's going to be diesen. All right, I'll give you some more think time on this one, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so for our first one, if you said disa, du hast recht, und dieses for the second one. And so I'll read it. Tja, das ist einfach nicht für mich. That is just not for me. Aber, but, Diese Marmelade und dieses Brot schmecken mir gut. This marmalade and this bread taste good to me. So they are the subject of the sentence because they're doing the tasting. Marmelade is a feminine word and Brot is a neuter word. So diese and dieses. All right, so you can click here. Hopefully this link works for the quizzes. If it does not, you can see the code at the bottom. You have until Thursday at 11 a.m. to complete the quizzes. It has some multiple choice, some open-ended questions on it to practice DISA. And then we'll have optional office hours on Teams on Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12 if you have questions or you just want to practice more. And so if you go to the general channel on Teams, you should see a meeting you can join at 11 a.m. And so until then, auf Wiedersehen, meine liebe Klasse.